Welcome Amakhosi Network, welcome to the channel. Today we talk about Vela Khumalo for Kaizer Chiefs, talking about Neo Bushoko getting promoted to the senior team, to Nabi's team. But before we get into that, please like, comment and subscribe. Subscribe. Get December, boss. Are you subscribing, man? Oh, come on, man. Come on, please, guys. Come on. But anyway, let's get into it. Neo Bushoko. There's a journalist asked to Vela Khumalo, should Neo Bushoko get promoted? The boy has been banging in goals for the DDC, for the youth team, etc. And for the youth international team, then people are starting to think that the boy is actually ready. And then what Vela said, his response was saying that no, Neo Bushoko shouldn't be promoted to the senior team. He's still young. He still needs to go through development. And he must finish school. So basically, Vela Khumalo is saying Neo Bushoko must only join the senior team when he's 18. So now my question is, this is what I dislike about South African coaches and South African teams. It's coaches who delay a player's success, coaches who delay a player's growth. Because for me personally, I've been watching Neo Bushoko for a very long time now, ever since he joined Chiefs and has been scoring goals for Chiefs, and I've been watching the boy progress. And at 15 years old, was already one of the leading goal scorers of the DDC, and this year he turned 16. Can you even imagine? This boy only turned 16 this year, and he's banging in goals for the youth teams, he's banging in goals for the DDC teams. Like, he's everywhere. The boy is everywhere, and he's doing a lot. And so Vela Khumalo has this opinion that the boy is not ready. And this is my question to you guys, is that Lamine Yamal of Barcelona, the boy is 16, he's just turned 17. The boy has been started Barca at the age of like 16, somewhere there. And he's been doing wonders since last season. But the thing is that when he started at Barca, it wasn't like they threw him at the deep end. And you must remember, last season's Barcelona was still a building Barcelona, because a lot of the team members, or actually Barcelona, if you have to think of it, was in a Kaizer Chiefs like position where they were rebuilding. They phased out their stars like Busquets, Messi, and all of these guys, and they were building with Gavi, Pedri, all of these young players. And with that, they brought in Lamine Yamal, and Lamine just had a very good start to his career. But what Barcelona did when he started is that they didn't play him 90 minutes. No, they used to bring him in the second half. He would get 15 minutes, he would get 10 minutes, he would get 20 minutes. And the boys you could see what he was doing. And then he started getting a second half. Then eventually he started starting games, and we could see that this boy, there's something special about him. But they phased him in. And this is my question, is that why does Chiefs has this policy of starting the boys late? Because in my opinion, and this is my opinion, if a boy is ready at a certain age, I feel the team should start integrating that player while also accommodating his studies, meaning that soccer players should not have a schooling system that is the same as a regular school child, like some of us who have a regular schooling system. Soccer players, they should have a soccer schedule with schools that aligns with them, meaning that they still get the right quality of education, they still do the right level of examinations. But the difference is that their programs will look different, because they will be part of a schooling and a sporting program, meaning their sporting will be integrated with their schooling, and it will mean that there are certain players, instead of writing exams at a certain time, they're going to write exams at another time and stuff like that. These are arrangements a team should be having with the school. For example, I remember Liam Jordan. If you guys remember Liam Jordan at Wits, that guy did not go through the normal schooling system because he wanted to kickstart his footballing career, meaning that Liam Jordan finished school at 17, but it was Budvet Wits and his parents and his mom, who basically put him in a program where he was going to be able to finish his matric at the right level, do all the necessary subjects, and then go and play soccer. And the boy ended up at 17, he was already playing for Wits University, he was playing for the MDC, and then he started playing. But Chiefs, as big as it is as a club, they cannot do this. This is why we see, for example, Sundowns being able to integrate Siyabonga Mabena. Mabena has played more games. But because of how Chiefs has a policy, they're not going to give Neo Buhloko a chance. We saw the same with Umfundo Vilakazi. In my opinion, Umfundo Vilakazi should have started playing for Chiefs at 17. Yes, Chiefs was struggling. We all understand Chiefs are struggling, so you cannot throw them in the deep end and stuff like that. But there are games where Chiefs dominated. And those are the games where you put Umfundo Vilakazi. For example, let me give a clear example of this. The SuperSport game in the Carling Cup. The SuperSport game in the Carling Cup, we are winning 4-0. We have killed SuperSport United. What do you do at the extra time? You throw in Neo Buhloko. Those are the minutes he goes and gets. Sitting on the bench, rubbing shoulders with the senior players, understanding what's needed from him at the top. Those are the things that he should be doing now, because the boy was 15 and already a top goal scorer in the DDC. Meaning that this guy was a top goal scorer in the DDC with Shandray Campbell, Bezaden Holt, Titus, and all of these guys still playing in and out of the DDC. Now my question, this is why it frustrates me. It frustrates me because it holds a player back. And when I say it holds a player back, I say some players need to start early. Some players need to not be blocked. What do I mean need to not be blocked? There are certain players who cannot be stalled. If you stall them at a certain level, they end up never reaching their level because they adjust to the quality of the players that they are playing with. Meaning that they start adjusting to their youth levels. And I say this because there are some players who need to continue to go up a level. They cannot sit at a certain level. When I say this, I'm like, Neo Buhloko has always been young, but he's been playing for senior teams. At 16 years old, this boy has played for the under-17, the under-19, the DDC. But the thing is that, why have they allowed him to play for these teams? Because he's ready. It's not because they're doing him a favor, it's because he's ready. When he plays for these teams, he goes and scores goals. He becomes top goal scorer in the Engine Cup and all of these things. And that's what it's all about. And my problem is that when they stall a player, stalling a player is this. Stalling a player is saying, Neo Buhloko, you need to continue playing with 19-year-olds. You need to continue playing with 17-year-olds. You need to continue playing with DDC players. When the boy is clearly better than all of these players. So basically, Chiefs is saying, for the next 2 years, Neo Buhloko will not be allowed to play not Chiefs, let me be clear. Vela Khumalo is saying, for the next 2 years, as Neo Buhloko finishes school, he will not be playing for the senior team. Meaning that when he's 17, he won't see the senior team. When he turns 18, he probably also won't be a senior team member, because if you turn 18 in your matric year, then technically Chiefs still says you should not be playing senior football. So he will only play senior team football in 2026, let's say December. Because that's when he will matriculate. I'm guessing if he's going according to his age, that's when he will matriculate, and that's when he will be 18 in 2026. So my problem with this is that there are certain players who should not be held back. I know a lot of you are going to say, no, protect the young player. Protect these players. These players, the Chiefs is losing. He can't go into the pressure of Chiefs. What, etc. And then I am going to argue this with you. To those people who say those things. This is what will build a boy. This is what builds the mentality of being a Chiefs player. You can tell the mentality of a Chiefs player. You don't, like for example, I watch Happy Mashiani, I watch Abosabelo Khatebe, I watch all of these players. And the one thing that is very common about them is that they lack a Kaizer Chiefs mentality, a top team mentality. And it has nothing to do with them losing. It has nothing to do with them being on a losing team. It has all to do with them accepting being poor. Samkelo Zwane accepts being casual. But when you watch Mfundo Vilakazi and Mdushabalala, there's one distinct factor that you can see with these boys. Even when they're not having a good game, they hate it. They hate having a bad game. And if you have watched Neo Buhloko, the one thing you will know about Neo Buhloko is a serious player. He barely smiles. Have you ever seen Neo Buhloko smiling in J? As young as he is, the boy takes this crap serious. And I feel if there's a player who is mentally ready at Kaizer Chiefs in the youth structures, it is not even, I won't even talk about Mdushabala, I won't talk about Mfundo Vilakazi. The boy who is ready to carry a Kaizer Chiefs badge is Neo Buhloko. I have watched this boy and how he carries himself. I feel if there's one player who is ready for Chiefs, is that boy. But being ready doesn't mean now throwing him in and say 90 minutes and expect him to score 20 goals in a season. No, being ready means that introduce him to the first team. Give him 15 minutes, give him 20 minutes, give him maybe a starting lineup against a smaller Nyana team and stuff, and just see how he's conducting himself, you know. And then when you see that, hey, no, this boy is ready, you continue to give him more minutes and more minutes and more minutes, while you also ensure that primary thing for him is schooling. For example, SuperSport United was playing Chandra Campbell. Gavin Hunt clearly said this at some point. He said, but they also had to understand that Chandra Campbell was in school. So Chandra Campbell, in the year when he was in matric, he was already playing for the first team, but they would do is that they would also prioritize his schooling. Meaning that if there's a game, let's just say midweek, he wouldn't attend those games because those games are going to clash with his schooling. So they'll give him the games that are more on the weekend. He can travel with the team. He does his homework. I'm sure he had tutors with SuperSport, those kind of things, just to ensure that it doesn't disrupt his schooling, but he's playing enough football. Because a player playing in the DDC, playing weekend games, has the same level of responsibility as a player playing in the PSL. What do I mean by that? I mean that Neo Buhloko, as part of the DDC, is in school. Meaning that he does travel to Cape Town, he does travel to KZN, he does travel to Eastern Cape and all these places across the country to play different teams there. But then at the same time, he's still in school. So when he comes back, he has a tutor, he has schooling, he has all of those things. But he's already following a football journey in that. Now, what is the difference of making Neo Buhloko travel with the first team instead of the DDC team? What is the difference? There honestly is no difference. The difference is teams thinking that this boy is not ready to play with adults when he actually is. There is no difference between the senior team and the DDC team, especially if the player has the right mentality. That's all I have to say.